Welcome. We wish you could sit down at one of our tables and enjoy a meal with us and we could see you in person. But that's not possible in the current circumstances, and so we are going to do the next best thing. We have planned a wonderful, informative program without the dinner, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. But we're calling it No Dinner with the Doctor. Our first presenter is Dr. Maria Minucci. She's familiar to those of you who have attended our program before. She's a specialist in endocrinology. She is going to talk to you about steps that you can take to resist being infected by the virus that we hear so much about today, as well as other viruses. So, Dr. Minucci, thank you so much for sharing with us this evening.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our No Dinner with the Doctor for today. We're going to be talking about being healthy at home. We're in this new setting of circumstances that require us to stay home almost all day, every day, and it's been about a month. This has changed many things in our lives, and that has the potential to be disruptive or to be beneficial. Some of the changes that this new setting generates can have a very significant impact in our health. As I talk with my patients every day, I hear that most people are gaining weight, or they're drinking more alcohol, or they're watching more TV, and staying up till very late at night, spending many hours in the couch, and I hear some other unhealthy situations. That is why we chose this topic for today's No Dinner with the Doctor. Our goal for today is to help you stay healthy at home. So I would like to start by describing some choices that we make on a daily basis that can have an impact in our health. So you've probably heard about antioxidants and oxidants and inflammatory agents and anti-inflammatory agents. So I want to describe this in a little more detail so we can understand the impact that our choices have in our bodies. So this that you're seeing here is a stable molecule. So under the presence of certain oxidants, and oxidants can be things like smoking, tobacco use, or some refined or very processed foods like certain meat that are processed, or very sugary things and high carb, refined carbohydrates foods. Things like that can behave as oxidants in our cells and make this stable molecule an unstable molecule. These unstable molecules that you can see here in yellow, those molecules liberate free radicals. They behave as free radicals. Free radicals are damaging agents to our cells. So they generate damage in the DNA of the cells, but this is a reverse process. So it doesn't have to stay that way. We can do the opposite and make this unstable molecule a new stable molecule again. So we do it with antioxidants. Antioxidants are things, for example, like vitamin C or vitamin E, that again can restore our cells to a healthy state. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about this in a little more detail. So we've talked about this in some other dinner with the doctors, and we're going to touch on some important things to keep in mind, and we'll emphasize on some practical tips to stay healthy at home. So let me start by listing the 8 natural remedies and refresh our minds about that. So nutrition, physical activity, water intake, sunlight exposure, fresh air, rest, emotional health. So, and to avoid harmful substances, like we just talked about tobacco or alcohol intake or refined things that can have that oxidant effect in our cells. Let's start by talking about nutrition. Fruits and vegetables are the basis of our diet, right? So we need to try to eat the rainbow, like they say. Eat all shapes and colors. The colors mean that they have different kind of vitamins or minerals. So make sure you're eating a variety of shapes and colors in your fruits and vegetables. A practical tip is to try to incorporate 2 or 3 fruits or veggies in every meal. So if we're thinking about 3 meals and we're aiming for 2 or 3 portions of different shapes and colors with every of these 3 meals, we're going to be incorporating a lot of vitamins and minerals if we focus on that, on eating the rainbow. You can eat them as a salad, as a soup, grilled, raw, boiled, in shakes, in a blender, all different ways. Try to be creative with that. Nuts and seeds, also super important. Sesame, chia, flax, sunflower, pecans, walnuts, almonds, cashews, peanuts, right? So all different nuts and seeds. And you can eat them in batters, right? Like peanut butter, almond butter, things like that. You can have them as a snack. Make sure they're unsalted. You can sprinkle some seeds or nuts in a salad, in a soup, in stews, in casseroles, different ways of incorporating nuts and seeds. They have very important elements that we need in our diet. So other things like legumes, like beans, lentils, chickpeas. So you can eat them in form of hummus, for example, or different spreads, stews, chili, soups, salads. You can have them buy them in cans. You just need to rinse them before you use them. You can buy them dry and just use an instant pot or different ways to cook them. You should also incorporate whole grains. And here's an example with brown rice, or you can eat whole wheat pasta, whole wheat bread, oats, corn, different ways to incorporate whole grains. So I'm emphasizing here about the whole grain and not the refined grain, right? So keep in mind things that have refined grains like other, white bread and white pasta, pizza, bagel, cupcake, cookie, pretzels, right? Cereal. So all those things that are the refined grains, we should try to avoid and make sure we're always choosing the whole grain because that's what's more beneficial for our health. Remember, we started by talking about the free radicals, right? So things that are processed to refined, right? They're taking away the vitamins and the minerals that are important in different fruits, and that can generate the free radicals that will be damaging to our cells. So in order to avoid that and instead get the benefits of the vitamins and the minerals, we want to eat them as fresh, as close to nature as possible. This is a great time to try new recipes. Share them with your friends, get ideas from friends and family. That will give you something to talk that is different than what's everybody talking about these days. So perfect time to test and spend more time in the kitchen and trying some new recipes. So here's a picture that I want to pause a little bit. So I started by talking about things that we should eat more, right? Because that's what we need to focus on. That's our priority. So if we plan to eat those things that we really need, we won't be so hungry for those things that we should stay away from. So I know that's hard, but again, this is an ideal time to limit our access to those unhealthy food choices. Here are the snacks. Snacks. If we don't buy them, right, we don't have them. So no blaming on the coworker that brings chocolates to the office or the food available on the streets when we're buying lunch on a work day or the leftovers from our dinners with friends and family, right? So, or that irresistible dessert on your favorite restaurant. All those are excuses that I generally listen from my patients and from myself, I'm not going to lie, right? But so those are things that we tend to find excuses for. No, no more of those things now. So we have home only what we bring home now. So just don't buy those chips. Don't buy those candies. So when you're bored and the bored eating comes, you won't have the option of going for those. There won't be another option that delicious apple sitting on your countertop. All right. So, a few words about physical activity. So, in a dinner with the doctor before about some other ways of being active without going to the gym. So, this is a great opportunity to walk in the neighborhood, to work in our garden, right? So all those hours that we were commuting to work, we were in the car, in the bus, in the metro, all right. So now that's all free time that we can use wisely. And so if you didn't really had a green thumb before, well, this is a good time to get your hands dirty and start working in your backyard, in your front yard, and stay active and have exposure to sunlight and air, fresh air that we'll mention also about. So it's a good time to play with kids. Excellent time to play with kids. I walk around the neighborhood and I see, neighbors and kids that I've never seen before, and I'm very happy for those families, right? And for all of us, being able to have more time to play with our kids. So get that basketball or get just a stick and fetch with your dogs, right? So things, find ways to stay active and be outside a little bit without, of course, still practicing safety, social distancing or physical distancing from other people, but try to be outside and move more. So if you telework, if you're sitting in the computer all day, try to put an alarm and every hour try to go around the house or go up and down the stairs. So try not to spend too many hours sitting down. Okay, that's the dangers of being home. So remember when we were complaining that we really didn't have time? I commute to work 45 minutes back and 40 minutes forward, right? So now we have all those minutes to do useful things that will be helpful for our bodies. So another thing, there's some very nice YouTube videos that you can look at that they say there's some that are called, for example, walking at home, and they have like 5 minutes or 15 minutes or 30 minutes of exercise programs that might help you. And there's some gyms as well that they're offering online Zoom classes. So if you need that extra motivation of someone that is really talking directly to you or someone that is watching you while you're exercising, those are good options. So be creative. This is a time to be creative. I put there also a picture of a mop because that's another way to stay active, right? Just go through that deep cleaning in your house. If you've already done it, you can do it again. And there's no harm in overdoing that, right? So ways to stay active, be creative, but don't forget, we tend, the days get clumped in our minds and then we lose track of time. Let's make sure we get out of the couch and stay active. By doing that, we're going to have access to more sunlight and fresh air. So the research has shown and has been showing it for many years that sunlight and fresh air can help with your mood. It can help with skin health. It's helpful for your intellectual capacity. You'll be able to focus more on your job. You'll be able to be more creative if you have exposure to sunlight and fresh air. And it can help you sleep better. So sunlight is super important to be able to generate melatonin at night and be able to sleep better. We'll hear more about this in a few minutes. So there are many healthy benefits for such an easy, accessible resource, right? The sunlight and fresh air. Let's not forget about water. So find ways to keep water handy at all times. Remember, we started talking about the free radicals. If we're dehydrated, that facilitates the production of inflammatory molecules. So let's be very careful. We're more prone to infections. We're more prone to um, different complications in our health if we're dehydrated. And remember that you don't have to wait until you're thirsty to drink water. Actually, thirst is the first sign of dehydration. So we should not wait until we're thirsty because we're already dehydrated. So Make sure, I find that it might be helpful to just have water everywhere, right? Or keep some reminders. Some people like the bottle of water. And all right, so keep your water bottle everywhere. So handy, visible, so you can remember, to drink more water. What helps me is to keep some cups everywhere. So then when I see an empty cup, I just go fill it up and drink it. I have patients that tell me they don't like the taste of water. All right, well, that's a problem. We need to like water, right? If we don't like the taste of it, it's because maybe we are too used to drinking some of those sugary drinks or things with artificial flavors. That's okay. We can solve that problem. You can put some extra lemon in the water, or you can slice strawberries that has a really nice taste. You can put cucumbers. I've seen some stores that sell water with cucumbers at like $6 per bottle. Well, you don't have to do that. You can do it yourself, right? You don't have to buy it. You can do it yourself, and it will enhance, right, the taste of water and maybe help you drink more. You can put some oranges. That's another good way of making it more appealing. So, but please, I'll stop here to make you think about this. Don't buy any sugary drinks. Stay away from soda. Stay away even from most juices, right? Fruit punch and those kind of things. So stay away from that. And you just need plain water. And if you don't have those like sodas in your house, it will be easier to resist the temptation. Okay, about sleep, we're going to be hearing more about this by Dr. Fred Harding in a few minutes. But I don't want to finish this presentation without talking a few words about the importance of controlling stress and talking about emotional health. So stress is a major fuel for inflammation. So seek help if you feel like your anxiety is hard to control these days. We'll be happy to provide you some extra resources if you need professional help. But now, as a few general tips to stay healthy emotionally, try to stay in touch with your loved ones. Reconnect with friends and family members that you haven't seen in a long time. This is a good time to do that. Guess what? Everybody's home, so everybody will be able to pick up the phone and talk to you. And think that there might be people that in your families and friends contacts, right? That they might be having a hard time, and you can be of help, and that feels good, right? To be helpful to other people. Use the help of technology. Try to see them over video conference, and that makes the communication even richer. So another tip is try not to watch the news all day, right? Once or twice a day is enough to keep yourself informed. You don't have to be watching, TV all day, and especially be careful with the news that can generate a lot of anxiety. So just do it to be informed, but not to feed your thoughts with those things. And then another tip, very important to me, is to strengthen your relationship with God and learn to trust Him. And that can bring peace to your heart. And that certainly is a healthy tip. So I hope these recommendations from our today's No Dinner with the Doctor help you stay healthy at home, keep a healthy immune system and metabolism to be able to fight and control disease. If you have any questions, stay tuned for more instructions on how you can reach to us and send us your questions. Have a blessed evening. Bye-bye.
How many of you love cookies? I do. How many of you have tried a zucchini cookie? Well, we are so pleased this evening that Mrs. Angela Burdick and her two daughters, Abigail and Emily, are going to demonstrate to you how to make zucchini cookies. Unfortunately, none of us will be able to taste them. But thank you, Angela and Abigail and Emily, for sharing how to do this.
Hi, my name is Angela. This is Abigail. And and we're going to make zucchini cheddar biscuits today. So first we need 2 cups. Yep, 2 cups. Okay, a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so that's 1 cup. Okay.
And dump it into the cup.
And that's it. And you can do another cup. Perfect. And you can just dump it in. Good. So we have 2 cups of flour. Good job. And we need
1/2 cup.
Well, that's where. Oh, I see. There's some flour in there. And we need 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Did you want to do this, Abigail?
Yes.
Good. You can just put that right in.
Is this enough?
That's perfect. Okay, and here's 1/2 cup, 1/2 teaspoon. Good. And we need 1 teaspoon of salt.
1 teaspoon of salt.
So you can just put the whole thing in.
This.
Yeah, that's perfect. Good. And then we add 1/4 cup of butter.
Actually, the salt.
Oh, it's stuck on the bottom. Maybe that's okay. So now we're gonna blend this. Okay, so now we put 1 egg in.
Can I help you?
Yes, you can help me. So let me pour it in, okay, sweetie? Thank you. So there we go, 1 egg.
Next time when I get bigger, I'll be able to pour it in.
You are right. And we'll get the milk.
Milk. I said more.
Yeah,
I love milk. It's okay. You can do this. Oh, you can do mommy.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so that's... Okay, and now we're gonna add some oil. We add 4 tablespoons of oil.
Here's milk. Some fresh cup of milk.
Okay, 1. Did you want to do that? Okay, good. Can you reach over? Okay, that 2. 3. Let me go all the way to the top. 4.
Okay.
Good.
Drink some
That's okay.
some egg. No, you can't drink some egg.
And then we put about 1/2 cup of cheese.
Some.
Would you like a little bit of cheese?
I like a little bit butter.
And some zucchini. About 1/2 a zucchini. This goes right in there. You're eating salt.
Uh-huh.
And then you put some Italian seasoning in for flavor. And now we're gonna mix it up again. Okay, now you girls can help me put it onto the pans.
Spoons.
Okay, let's get 2 teaspoons.
No, 4 spoons. 10 spoons. 9 spoons. 8 spoons. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1.
They go in the oven for 25 minutes.
Minutes?
Good. Hey girls, come, the biscuits are ready. Thanks guys for joining the making of our biscuits.
Welcome.
Wonderful. I would love to try one of those cookies sometime. I want to share with you briefly some new information that details how sleep can help you resist. Everyone today is focused on the current pandemic, hoping that they will not become infected. Did you know there's a very close bidirectional relationship between your sleep and your immune system? Good sleep fights against infection by deploying all manner of weaponry, equipping you with protection that is very important. In a rested person, if you do fall ill, the immune system actively stimulates your sleep system, demanding more bed rest to help reinforce the war effort. Just one night of short sleep will rudely rob you of that invisible suite of immune resilience. Dr. Eric Prather of the University of San Francisco recruited 150 men and women. He measured their sleep each night using a wrist actigraph for 1 week. Then he quarantined these people and squirted a healthy dose of rhinovirus, that's a live culture of the common cold, up their noses. They gave their permission. He then carefully observed them, assessing the extent of immune reaction by taking frequent blood samples and saliva samples. He gathered every glob of nasal mucus that each participant produced. In fact, at regular intervals, each had to blow their noses. Then he bagged, tagged, and weighed each specimen. Using these measures, he was able to objectively determine whether someone had really caught a cold. He analyzed his data based upon how much sleep each of the participants had in the week before being exposed to the cold virus. He looked at those who had had less than 5 hours of sleep, those who had 5 to 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours, and 7 or more hours of sleep. The less sleep a person was getting in the week before they were exposed to the common cold virus, the more likely it was that they would be infected and catch a cold. In those sleeping an average of 5 hours or less, the infection rate was almost 50%, while those sleeping 7 hours or more per night in the week prior, the infection rate was just 18%. An enormous effort today is being made to develop a vaccine for the COVID-19 illness. When it's available, many of you will want to take it. But this may surprise you. Did you know that sleep affects the effectiveness of the vaccine? Researchers found in 2002 that sleep profoundly impacts our response to the standard flu vaccine. Healthy young adults were divided into two groups. One group had their sleep restricted to 4 hours per night. The other half was allowed 7.5 to 8.5 hours per night. After 6 days, everyone was given a flu shot. Blood samples were taken over the following 10 days to determine how effective these individuals were in generating an antibody response. That is the way that we measure the success of vaccine. Those participants who were sleeping 7 to 9 hours in the week before getting the flu shot experienced a very robust, healthy response. However, those who were sleep deprived experienced less than 50% of the immune response of those who slept well. We know that those who show poorer responses to vaccine challenges also experience higher rates of clinical illness. Adequate amounts of sleep are necessary for optimal resistance to infections. I would like to make 5 suggestions on how you can have a good night's sleep every night. The first is to place your trust in God. The Bible gives wonderful assurance that even in troubled times, that God is with us. I love John 14, verse 1. Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. And the wisest man who ever lived said in Proverbs 3:24, you can go to bed without fear. You will lie down and sleep soundly. The second important aspect of getting a good night's sleep is to exercise every day. And that exercise should be done early in the day. You see, you've no doubt heard about the cortisol, which is known as the stress hormone. And cortisol levels tend to go down naturally in the evening, and they help us relax. They help that lower level prepares us for a good night's sleep. When we exercise in the morning, it stimulates that cortisol level, but during the day, it tends to go down. When we exercise late in the day, especially vigorously, that cortisol level goes up and it actually contributes to making it harder to go to sleep, and it alters the recuperative value of the sleep that we get during that night. Number 3, we're creatures of habit, and we need to establish a regular routine. We need to have a regular time for going to bed, and we need to have a regular time for getting up. When we do that, the quality of the sleep we get is maximized. Number 4, we need to try to go to bed on an empty stomach. We should avoid snacking before bedtime because it too interferes with the quality of the sleep that we get. And then number 5, we need to avoid alcohol, caffeine, and sleeping pills. Each of them in different ways interferes with the quality of the sleep we get. When we follow those 5 principles, we can have the greatest chance of having a good night's sleep every night and making sure that we have the greatest opportunity of resisting infections.
Many of us have been attending a wonderful series of online meetings called Hope Awakens. These meetings discuss what the Bible has to say about current events. You may be surprised that it has a lot to say. You can enjoy them by visiting hopeawakens.com. The next meeting begins on Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., and you are more than welcome. We are so glad that you joined us this evening for No Dinner with the Doctor, and hope that the information that has been shared will be helpful to you. If you have questions that you would like to ask our presenters this evening, you can call the number that you see on the screen, 571 748-4021. And when prompted, please enter the PIN 0082537 followed by the #. And then you will be connected, and we will look forward to hearing your questions and having a short discussion with you. We're going to leave that number on the screen for just a few more moments, so that you can write it down. Please note, if you're viewing this video after April 19, 2020, that number will no longer be valid. It is only good for this evening. Thank you so much for attending. God bless you.